Hi, I'm Becca. I'm a third year at London Contemporary Dance School.
I'm Isaac. I'm a third year studying graphic design at Central St Martin's.
Hi, I'm Georgia. I'm a third year studying theatre design at Wimbledon College of Arts.
Hi, I'm Zach. I'm a third year at London Contemporary Dance School.
So Zach and I did a collaboration with choreography and set design and costume, and it was really great.
Me and Isaac did a collaboration on dance, choreography and film, and it was under the title of Moving Image.
Yeah, screen dance.
Screen dance,
Yeah.
Moving Image collaboration.
I think collaboration to me kind of means two or like more entities or art forms or whatever you're collaborating with put together to kind of make something that you can't really see the entities that you've put together. So it's kind of like all about listening and sharing and like learning and creating something that's like neither one nor the other. It's kind of like
A hybrid.
Yeah, because we were saying it's like a fusion of kind of different areas of expertise.
Yeah.
So how does that become one? How does that become a final product in a really coherent and adhesive way?
Yeah. I think collaboration also allows you to sort of push the piece of art or performance further than you would have originally, because it's kind of, you're adding new skills that you wouldn't have had doing it solely. So it sort of allows you to reach further heights.
Yeah, I think not just skills as well. I think when you're working with someone, especially in like dance and design, it's such different areas that it really adds like a different way of like thinking to, even if I'm doing like filmmaking, then the way that I think about that has changed because of working with someone who like doesn't do that. So I think in that way you learn like so much more about your own practice than you would if you're collaborating with people that are doing like the same thing as you. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. And even like through the other eyes of like the other person.
Yeah.
So like me learning about design and then using my background, my dance and choreographic background to like work with Georgia, and then vice versa, her knowing about design and like how to place different things inside the design, and then how that can like correspond to like choreography and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I feel like it's like a two-way street.
Yeah, because in our collaboration especially, you had to almost become you had to become a choreographer at times. I had to become filmmaker, so like collaboration is kind of about embodying, not only working with, but embodying another art form. Like, I felt like that was what we were doing, especially in our film.
I feel like as well, something like contemporary dance, like coming from a space, I don't know if you'd agree, of a designer, it's much more niche than performance than we'd normally design for. So I feel like it was a really lovely insight to work with contemporary dancers and, like you say, learn so much. And you do have to design very differently compared to when you're dancing for, traditional acting or so forth. So I think it was a really nice way to sort of expand and learn a lot about a different world.
There's only like so much one artist can do, even if that so much is like very broad. As soon as you like can like connect with someone else and have a whole nother set of eyes and a whole nother set of experience and knowledge and ideas, then there's like so many different pathways you can take. I feel like the branch just goes
definitely.
Like start to grab everything.
And I feel like we're like breeding this new audience of people that don't just want to see dance. We want to feel and experience. So it's not just dance anymore. It's I'm using dance as an example because that's what I know. But like, it's not dance anymore. It's dance with a big set around you, or there's got to be something else there to make it an experiential kind of blend to really attract an audience. Now we've got to, like, it's our duty to make sure there's still that presence there, that like physical energy, or even like technological as well, like that element. Because ours was a film. How do you really draw out the senses of the audience, and that's through these expertise in film and knowing what's going to attract an audience's attention and knowing what's going to move an audience within the film relies on a lot of people's brains leaping together.
Yeah.
No, absolutely, and I think as well, like you both said, it's about, I think that was an interesting question because, I think a lot of artists, there are a lot of solo artists out there, but I think the minute you bring in an audience and an interactive audience, that's when it changes it up. And I think the world that all four of us are in, be it film, choreography, or just like general performance design, we all heavily rely on an audience. And I think, like you said, the world's moving, that audience is going to become more and more interactive. So I think at that point, because no audience is usually ever just going to be one person unless it's designed to be like that. So therefore, a group of people will have like a different group of ideas and opinions about a piece. So I think the more people that bring to make up a piece, the more the piece can almost speak to a larger community of people, if that makes sense.
I think you can't be like that interesting in your craft on your own. Like, it's such an important like learning experience, even if it's like, not that this was, but even if it is like a negative learning experience, it's so important as like an emerging creative to just kind of understand how you mesh with other people, like, because obviously other people still exist, even if you want to be like this artist in your own bubble, there are like other people. So understanding how you are like sit in relation to them, and how they can influence you, and I think it's also important to be aware that you are like your own person whilst you're doing that collaboration. I think we had that really nicely. I think we had like a nice kind of like trusting collaboration where I wouldn't even bother trying to like choreograph, but then at the same time I knew that, I don't know, it's kind of like a test in like my communication skills as well, because I wouldn't choreograph but I'd still have like ideas, and it's kind of how do you know what I mean?
How I can like absorb that idea, put it into something.
And also how like my like filmmaking can like best translate your like ideas and movement into like something on screen, and kind of like really taking that responsibility of like, this is your work as well as mine, so it needs to be like really fucking good. Like, I mean, like, it definitely pushes you to do stuff better when you've got like someone else there with you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like this kind of, if you trust in me, then it's like getting the best out of me.
Yeah.
As well as my trust in you is. Yeah, it becomes this kind of baby that you have that like is really important to both of you. If you're an emerging artist, you need to have that same mindset that you need to respect your craft. I feel like that can come with speaking to other people, working with other people, and kind of getting a sense of how important this thing you're making is.
It's like a nice confidence boost as well, just being able to like bounce ideas off someone instead of just being inside your own head and going, oh, this is shit, I'm not going to do that. Like just having Becca there and be like, oh no, that's actually quite interesting, and then you kind of like develop on something that you otherwise wouldn't have. You know what I mean?
No, I think adding on to that, as an emerging artist, I think working with someone else can really like inform you what you like to do, what your individual passion is. And like I feel like, especially for someone that's wanting to make work, like a vital thing is to know exactly what you want to share and what you individually want to express. And I think working with Georgia, I kind of started to really like see and feel what I was giving as an individual, and that's what kind of the same sort. But I think working with someone, you kind of really start to, that kind of like, it's like a bright light. It's like
I agree, and I also think that when you're sort of going from what you were saying, when you're working with someone, like when you're working by yourself, I don't know how many people like would think the same thing, but sort of self-belief is quite hard to do when you haven't got anyone sort of there going, no, this isn't completely bonkers and this isn't going to flop, like go for it. So I think even though, even there was points where our tutors were going, this is way too ambitious and this is going to flop, the fact that we were like, it's not going to flop, whereas I think if we hadn't had that collaboration and we hadn't had that support network between us two, we wouldn't have been able to do what we did, because we needed each other to be like, let's just keep going, even though it felt really like boggy at some points.
Yeah, just push.
Yeah.
See where it goes.
Yeah. I think collaboration, though, it is very much like luck of the draw. And I feel like, obviously I don't know how your collaboration went, but I presume from this conversation it went well.
Yeah.
And I feel like we were lucky, the fact that we were a very similar like work ethic, and we wanted similar things out of it. And I don't know if this is like going down the right route, but just so I kind of feel like I know sort of other friends who have had collaborations where it hasn't worked. So going back to your original question of like, is collaboration important for emerging artists? I think like absolutely yes, because it makes you learn things about yourself. But I don't think collaboration is like the key to successful work, because I think collaboration is very much sort of like, you know, a needle in a haystack of if those two characters are going to work, especially artists, because we're all, because of our nature and because of what we do, have very high personalities and strong opinions. So I think, yes, I do think it's important, but I think
it's a good key.
Yeah, it's not the key, because I think it's kind of like a lottery ticket. And I think once you have someone you can collaborate with really successfully, then I think as an emerging artist, it's really important to like kind of hold on to that person, because there's a lot of people that you'll be like, actually, like, you know, you're a great guy or girl, you know, you're great to have a pint with, but you're not, I can't work with you. So I think, yes, it is key, but it's key to find those right collaborators.
Artistic collaborations work well when you are available. Like, you've got to be really, really open. Like, it's really great. Like, we started from such a blank slate. Like, and that for us really worked. Like, being able to build something and watch it like kind of do this layering effect from the bottom upwards.
Yeah.
Going in with like a really strong-headed, like, have opinions, but don't expect anything. Kind of expect nothing.
Yeah, I think that's definitely like really important. And I think with what you were saying then, it's easy to like write off a collaboration right at the first step, because you feel like a bit uneasy about like yourself or like the person that you're working with. But I think just having that, like just not expecting anything, and just trying to just respect the other person and just enjoy the process instead of trying to get something out of it.
Yeah.
I think that's when you get like the most enjoyable experience and like the best work coming out, because it's just like honest work. It's not like I'm doing this so that I can like milk you for being a choreographer. It's just like we're both just doing this, and let's just see if we can just have fun together, and then maybe something will come out, and if it doesn't, then it's been nice anyway. So
it's good to have a nice, like, especially at this age, you don't want to knock your confidence in collaboration, be like, I can't work with other people, I'm not good to work with, because that's just going to set you up for a world of the art world where you can't actually access these other things. You can't become a multifaceted being. Long words. You need to have these good experiences at this age. You really need to take it for what it is. Like,
but you have to make them good yourself as well. It doesn't just happen.
It doesn't just happen.
It's also about like knowing what background the other person or the other people are coming from, and knowing their experience, and knowing your experience, and knowing what you can provide, what they can provide, but also like trying to push each other, because I feel like we were both like really trying to push each other to our limits, which I think is really good, and that's where like you can create like the best forms of your art, even though you're kind of as well. But I feel like if when it's not going to work is like when either you both have like outcomes. I think that's what you like outcomes
set
for like set goals, because obviously you don't know what the other person has in mind until you collaborate, until you go to the journey and you find the ending. But if you have that end goal, like that's what I want, that's kind of when I feel like collaboration doesn't really work.
Well, it's not really collaboration in that sense, is it? That's just kind of like someone else working for your idea or something. Whereas the beautiful thing is that fusing that we talked about earlier.
I think as well what's interesting from a designer's perspective is because just talking about collaboration, some people have really like warped views of what a designer is. And sometimes people think of us as sort of basically like slightly sophisticated like builders and painters.
Yeah.
So it's about, I think it's about learning to like share your ideas, and then also very much at the same time like learning to let go. And I think that's like a really important thing as well in collaboration, of being like, you know, I might have spent like 6 hours on this, or I might have edited that for like 12 hours, but actually, you know what, that sequence or that prop, that's got to go because it isn't working. And I think when it's your own work and you're telling yourself that's easy, but I think when you don't quite see it and maybe you're like a day behind that your collaborator going, this isn't working, and you've got to like trust in them that they know that it isn't working. Yeah, if I'm making sense. So yeah, sort of like being like, okay, we've worked together, I'm trusting in you that you know what you're talking about. Take it away. Do your thing. Yeah, exactly. And like trusting that you're going to get to their point of knowledge.
You're both going to get there at some point.
Exactly.
If you like.
Because I remember when we first started talking, our original idea was to have these like see-through, almost glass boxes filled with like mud, and there would be one in the auditorium, and our dancers would be like semi-naked, like
so crazy.
That was our initial. Went on a crazy journey.
Someone's going to do that now.
Like, oh yes, I did this.
So yeah, I think it's about just being like, you know, and we went through all sorts of stages, and we were going to have Ella, our sort of dancer, who was the icon figure, and like this veil. Again, like you just got to be like, goodbye. You don't know
we bought the veil, we don't choose the veil.
Exactly, and that's sort of sitting in my corner of my bedroom as if I'm some like, you know, mad widow. It was those moments in rehearsals when we'd worked really, really hard on something, and we'd then bring it in, and it would work, and it was watching the dancers' faces, going like, oh, this is cool, you know, like, look what we can do with what they've made for us.
And the corner like,
like 7 coffees, you know, for example, like with the puppet and stuff like that, and it was just like quite a nice, heartwarming feeling of like, that's paid off. We've done that. Like a proud parent.
Yeah. I think what you said like was my favourite moment when we were in the wine bar. Like it was out of like the studio. It was out of any. I think we'd kind of gotten to this point where like we were in our heads. We were like, oh, like we're here, but this like where do we go next? We've got this idea, but it's not really like there. And just to be able to take it out and kind of see each other as not just collaborators, it's also human beings that drink wine, or like sit and go out and do other things, and how we just started to do that, like bouncing off each other, and it was like every sentence just started to click, and then we could literally put our notebooks away and then just have an evening where it felt like not finalised, but like the spirit of clarity.
Yeah, definitely that.
Yeah, I think my favourite moment, it's going to sound really cliche, 3 G&Ts down at the top of the theatre. It's really bad, I can't say it. Just sitting with Georgia, like, we have done this. Like, I can see them arranging the box, and like all the aunts are in, and I'm like, oh my god, this is happening. And then just like watching the piece, and just like watching every bit and remembering how much like intricate work we've been doing on each section, how we got to that section, where we went with the dancers, and like how we got to that section, and like it finishing going like, oh my god, it's done. We've just done it. And like I think the idea of like where could we go next, and like I think with collaboration it's really lovely that you kind of create something, but then you also create like contacts, and you create relationships, and seeing like where could we go next? We've created something, we can maybe create something else.
What's the next step?
Where
can we go?